Welcome to the Boss Your Morning Masterclass. I'm so excited to be here talking about rebuilding your morning routine after summer. So let me ask you something. What if the reason you feel off track right now isn't because you're lazy or disorganized or lacking discipline, but because you've been starting your day meeting everyone else's needs but your own? We're going to change that today. But first, let me tell you a story. Several years ago, I was working in the city of London, and from those outside, looking outside in, I looked like I had it all together. High performing team, strong work ethic, the decorated CV, six-figure income, beautiful home, lovely family. But behind the scenes, I was running on empty. Every day, I started in a rush. The alarm, the kids, emails, coffee, putting the suit on, commuting, getting to meetings. I was chasing performance without presence. I knew how to show up for deadlines, but not for myself. And deep down, I thought that if I could just do more, be more, push harder, it would all get better. But no matter how much I achieved, I felt disconnected, tired, like I was pouring from an empty cup every single day. I'm Tessa, Boss Your Morning founder and CEO, and I've been bossing my morning for the last 12 years. Because do you know what? Eventually, I realised something. No one was coming to save me. Not a new job, not a manager, not even a holiday. It had to start with me. And that's where these mindset tools came in. The exact tools that I now teach are the ones that underpin Boss Your Morning. Because when I started rebuilding my mornings, when I started choosing how to begin each day, that's when everything changed. So whether you're here to rebuild, reconnect, or reset, just know this. You don't need to overhaul your whole life. You just need to start your day with you. So let's get into it. This is the Boss Your Morning Masterclass, and it's so good to have you here. Whether you've shown up every month or this is your first time in a while, you've made a powerful choice just by being here. So tonight's theme is one that so many of us need. Back to you, rebuilding your morning routine after summer. Because let's be honest, routines slip. Life gets full. And summer, while it's beautiful and fun and adventurous, it can knock us right off track. And then when we enter September with high expectations and even higher pressure, we sometimes struggle to get back to the space we were before the summer started. But this space is your reset, your return to center, your reminder that everything changes when you start the day for you, not for the rest of the world. So let's take a deep breath in before we get started. And now, and let's reconnect. Here's what we're going to cover today. A powerful mindset reframe to help you reconnect with yourself this September. The science of why your morning matters, including the dopamine effect. We're going to be looking at the biggest self-sabotage traps and how to overcome them. We're then going to look at our 6-part Boss Your Morning habit flow with science-backed insights. And then we're going to do a live guided visualization to reignite your energy and your purpose. And by the end of this session, my wish for you is that you'll walk away with clarity, confidence, and a simple plan to start showing up for yourself again every single morning. So, why does your morning matter? Well, you could have the best goals, the biggest vision, and the most heartfelt intentions. But if your morning starts in chaos, your day often flows in the same way too. So how you start your day often follows on for the duration. And it's not just mindset. It's science. In his book Dose by psychologist T.J. Power, he explains that how the way that we start our day can literally flood our brain with either harmful chemicals or helpful chemicals. So if you wake up and instantly reach for your phone, which a big percentage of the population do, you get a cheap dopamine spike from scrolling, followed by a fast crash. Then maybe a hit of caffeine, more artificial stimulation. Before you know it, your brain is already on this roller coaster before you've even had breakfast. And that sets you up for a day of reactivity, low mood, and mental fatigue. But when you start your day with intention, with yourself, with stillness, you trigger the natural dopamine loop, the feel-good chemicals that sustain focus, motivation, and calm energy throughout the day. And that's exactly why Boss Your Morning exists. Because when you build a practice rooted in science and soul, you don't just feel better, you function better. Therefore, you can do more, be more, have more, serve more, give more. Your life feels more and it can become more. So let's be real. There are thousands of ways to begin your day. But the truth is, most people start in reaction. We hit snooze. We reach for our phones. We let someone else's priorities dictate our first thoughts. Then we wonder why we feel behind and exhausted by 10 a.m. But the real power, it comes when we choose deliberate action over default reaction. So let's talk about self-sabotage, because we all do this. And there are 6 main patterns, or 5. Let me talk you through them. So we're gonna have a talk about for a moment what gets in the way, what really stops us from committing to these rituals and that we know are good for us. So Dan Martell, in his book Buy Back Your Time, says there are 5 powerful self-sabotage patterns that we often fall into. The first one is the complexity trap. We make our routines so detailed and overwhelming that we end up doing nothing. We overplan, overthink, and create unnecessary stress. A good morning doesn't need to be complicated. Simplicity always wins. So when I first started studying mindset and mindfulness, I had come from a city background where I was a financial advisor, 1 + 1 = 2, all very, very factual. I then came into a world where I was encouraged to think about my mindset and how I was starting my day and the sorts of habits that I was creating along the way to help me build a successful business. And when I started studying positive psychology, it all seemed a bit woo-woo. And also all the things that people suggest, when you read hundreds of books like I have and you spend hundreds of hours investing in this stuff, you feel like you need a part-time job just to be able to fit it all in. So I had to create some simplicity because my world was complex with jobs. I was building a business. I had a toddler. I had a baby on the way. I had, a family and a home to run and relationships to maintain. So I had to think of a simple routine. Simplicity always wins with your morning routine. So that if we can break something down and make it simple and digestible, then we can continue with that. So the complexity trap is something that's there. It's something that stops us. It's something that maybe overwhelms us so we don't carry on with something, but it doesn't need to be there. That is a self-sabotage. Simplify the routines. Simplicity always wins. The other thing that we self-sabotage on is the martyr complex. Everyone else needs me first. Does that sound familiar? Well, when we constantly put others before ourselves, we burn out. Giving from an empty cup is not sustainable or even possible. So your morning is your permission slip to prioritize yourself, to literally top up your cup so you are full to overflowing before the day even begins. The third self-sabotage is control addiction. It has to be done my way or it won't be done right. Now, this shows up when we refuse to delegate or trust others, and that includes not trusting ourselves to pause. But letting go creates space for what matters most. If you're a parent, you probably feel that self-sabotage trap. I need to do it, otherwise it won't be done well enough. We need to let go of some of that. The fourth one is the shiny object syndrome. We all have this, jumping from one idea to the next, trying the latest hack, abandoning what works because something new looks more exciting. But consistency, it's boring, but it's powerful. Morning habits thrive on repetition. You must get the reps in to see the results. The last one is perfectionist paralysis. If I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. Now, this one is huge. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect journal, the perfect schedule, but progress always trumps perfection. Show up messy, show up anyway. If we're not consciously building our mornings, we're unconsciously sabotaging them. So when you don't start your day with yourself, you're saying everyone else matters more than me. But you matter. Your energy, your clarity, your alignment, that matters too. So let's break all these self-sabotage cycles and be aware of them and create a framework that works for us. That's simple, that works, where we can put the reps in. Now, let me take you through the exact 30 minutes flow that we use every day in the Boss Your Morning app. Now, some of you may know this. If you're regular to Boss Your Morning, you will know this habit. You've got it down. It isn't random. It's not fluffy. It's not another morning hack. This is a habit stack backed by neuroscience. So we start with stillness. This calms the nervous system, lowers cortisol, our stress hormone, and sets the tone for clarity instead of chaos. You go from fight or flight to rest and respond. Now, most people don't realize how noisy their inner world has become until they pause. And this stillness is the doorway to your inner wisdom. Even just 1 minute of stillness can reset your heart rate, your breathing pattern, your sense of control. We then move on to gratitude. Pour our hearts out onto our paper. This is not just a nice idea. Gratitude triggers serotonin, the satisfaction chemical in our brains. It pulls your brain out of lack and comparison, which we often get when we scroll, into joy and contentment, feeling really lucky, grateful, happy for all the things you already have. Now, TJ Power says the brain can't hold stress and gratitude at the same time. So you pick your mindset. Gratitude literally rewires your emotional state. And the beautiful thing is it trains your brain to look for the good throughout the day. You become the type of person who does this and onboards this as a habit, who sees possibility instead of problems. And that's a nice place to be. We then move on to our affirmations. Now, our words are so powerful, and this isn't about fake positivity, it's about mental rehearsal. Affirmations train your brain to focus on who you want to be instead of spiraling into old stories. So I'll give you an example. I am grounded. I am capable. I'm becoming the best version of me that I've always wanted. You're literally reprogramming your beliefs that you carry about yourself. And as we often say, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you actually fall to the level of your identity. So you need to step into the person that you want to become before that person shows up. Visualization is another one of our Boss Your Morning habits, and it's one of my favorites. We bring vision to life. We picture your ideal day, not just what you want to do, but how you feel when you're doing it. And your brain doesn't know the difference between imagined and what's real. So when you visualize success, calm, confidence, your body and your mind begin to align with that. Now, athletes use this, performers use this, leaders use visualization, and you can too. We then feed our minds with quotes, podcasts, clips from masterclasses and, inspirational people, because what you consume shapes your energy. This is your daily dose of input that expands your thinking, reignites your drive, teaches you things, motivates you. And motivation isn't something that you just have. It's something that you cultivate. And the more inspired you feel, the more energy you bring to the people around you. And that ripple effect is what we want to achieve. Final part of Boss Your Morning, we prepare for action. We choose 5 actions to move us forward. Not 17 things or a full to-do list. 5 actions, 5 aligned tasks that your future self will thank you for. Then we help you plan when, how, and then we support you to follow through with your goals. So we're not just thinking about these things, we're creating a plan to get them done, because clarity kills overwhelm. Action builds confidence. And over time, you start wanting to feel ready. You just start to do things and it rewires your identity because you know you can and you start to believe in yourself. So let's come back to dopamine, the motivational chemical. TJ Power explains that how we're stuck in a loop of unnatural highs and crashing lows because of things like doom scrolling, constant WhatsApp pings, caffeine overload, overstimulation first thing in the morning. When you take back control, the first 30 minutes of your day, you can do more. You can create a sustainable dopamine cycle that lifts your mood, increases your motivation, it boosts your focus and supports better sleep at night as well, which is crucial to our good overall health. You're literally reconditioning your brain to feel better naturally. So here's the question that I love to ask myself. Now, the one thing that I think a lot of people have in common is the phone. It does so much, it's so helpful, it's so clever, but it's not always the best for our brain. Here's the question. Is your phone the first relationship that you connect to in the morning, or is it yourself? You should choose yourself first. You'll feel the difference. And your relationships, your work, your sense of control, it will all start to shift. Now, September is a powerful time. It's the second new year. If you're a parent, you've got kids in mainstream school, you'll know that actually they're resetting, they're going into a new school year, and it's kind of like a fresh chapter for us all. So let's set some intentions right now. And I want you to write a few things down because this is the stuff that we want to revisit and take away from our session today. So 3 things. The first thing I want you to write down is my word for this next chapter is. My word for this next chapter is. And you can choose a word that anchors you. So it could be my word for this next chapter is calm. My word for this next chapter is focused. My word for this next chapter is bold. My word for this next chapter is aligned. My word for this next chapter is consistent. So what's your word? And what I love about Boss Your Morning is though we do this together, it's a very personal practice because you get to focus on your vision, your words, your affirmations, and that all shapes the person that you want to become because we're all different. We don't all want the same things. We all want success. We all want happiness. We want joy. We want calm. We want good health. But the things that we want around us and the people that we want around us and where we want to be, they're all different. And that's what makes life exciting. So your word for the next chapter, I want you to write down what that is. The second thing I want you to write down is one thing I will recommit to each morning is, and I say recommit because often in the summer, if the kids are off, we're on holidays, we have those kind of natural breaks in our years. Summer is a big one. Christmas and New Year is another big one as well. So we need to sometimes we come away from our habits, so we need to recommit to them, and that's good. We haven't just left them behind. We've just paused, and we just need to either build them up gradually or get stuck straight back into where we left off. But what's the one thing that you will recommit to each morning? So it could be Boss Your Morning in its entirety, or you could choose one thing, even if it's just 5 minutes of stillness before you pick up that phone. So what's the one thing that you will recommit to each morning? The third thing I want you to write down is, I will protect my energy by. I will protect my energy by. Now, this could be something like setting a boundary, leaving your phone outside the door, outside your room, saying no without guilt. Sometimes we try and please so many people that actually we can't do it all. So sometimes we just have to say no, and that's okay because we have to put ourselves first. So I will protect my energy by. So that's your three things. My word for the next chapter is, one thing I will recommit to each morning is, and the third thing I will protect my energy by. So hopefully you have yours written down and you are able to say those out loud and commit to them as well. Once you've said it out loud, once you've written it down, that is it. It's all going to happen. If you revisit it daily, you can't just shut your book and then 6 months later come back and expect all of those three things to have been achieved. You must work on it daily. This is your time. This is your morning routine. This is your next move. So what's it going to be? Are you going to commit to those three things? Or are you going to shut the book and forget all about them? Only you can decide. So before we finish tonight, I'd love to invite you to a visualization exercise. We're going to take one final moment to breathe in our power, to reconnect to the part of us that's bold, courageous, and full of energy. This visualization was shared at our recent conference, written by one of our team, Abby Hartshorn Abbott, and it's the perfect message for this moment in our journeys. So I'm just going to pop some quiet music on underneath. Share my audio. And I'm going to press play on. So get yourselves comfortable, guys. And if you feel comfortable to do so, you can close your eyes or keep your gaze low. We're going to take a deep breath in and out. Let your body soften. Feel the warmth in your belly and just listen. This is called fire in my belly. I'm going to let the fire in my belly begin to burn, powerful and bright, like the beautiful energetic sun. I will radiate the positive energy and warmth. I'm going to let the fire in my belly begin to burn. Set goals and revive my passion for life. Not to be better than others, but to fulfill my own goals and desires. I'm going to let the fire in my belly begin to burn. As I deserve more than being content. I can achieve. I can work towards a goal. I'm stronger than my last challenge. The fire in my belly has never stopped burning. I've been consumed by my mind. And when I listen, I really listen to the whispers of my heart. The self-doubt slowly switches off. The fire in my belly is now burning passionately and loudly. I become more curious. I feel reignited within. I can lean into my strengths to follow my passions. Even when I begin to walk towards things that scare me, I will show courage and stand tall, not missing a beat. Take a deep breath in. Feel that fire, that passion, that purpose. And as you exhale, let any doubt leave with it. You are ready to start again, to stand tall, to give yourself the energy, the love, the respect that you deserve every single morning. When you're ready, feel the room around you and gently open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. First time I heard that was just stunning. So I want to finish by saying thank you for being here. And I'll see you next month at our next masterclass. But before we go, let's have a quick recap of what we have covered today. So we now know how you start your day, how you start your morning, that sets the tone for your entire day. So don't underestimate the power of that first 30 minutes of the day. The dopamine dilemma is what we're all facing, and why scrolling first thing in the morning isn't harmless. It's actually creating harmful chemicals within your brain and sending your body off on this roller coaster and your mind. We know that we self-sabotage. Some of the patterns I've spoken about tonight, they may have, you may have recognized something in yourself that pulls you off track. Be aware of that. Come back on track. Don't self-sabotage. And then the simple, powerful 30-minute Boss Your Morning routine, rooted in neuroscience and soul, something that's been created and perfected and onboarded and evidenced throughout the last 12 years. And that beautiful visualization, a reminder that your fire has never gone out. You have everything inside you that you need to begin again, to reset, to restart, and bring your vision into your reality. So guys, thank you so much for joining me on our Boss Your Morning Masterclass. It's been my joy and privilege to be here with you. And my wish for you is that you take some of the lessons and the teachings forward into your month and you implement them to make those positive changes that are going to create that difference in your world and the ripple effect that others will feel from the changes and energy that you bring into each and every day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you soon.